Well, in this video lecture, we're going to be using Excel to do some basic calculations involving the time value of money. It used to be that in class, students would use a financial calculator to do these types of calculations. Excel allows you to build models where you can quickly and easily change some of the data and immediately get back your results. So we're going to look at some of the basic calculations. We're going to compute the future value of a dollar. We're going to compute the present value of a dollar. We're going to do a future value annuity. It's called an ordinary annuity. We'll also do a present value of an annuity and the present value of an annuity too. So the first we're going to do is the future value. And to understand future value, it's best if you looked at it along a timeline. So I've set up in my rows here from 0 to 5. Let's assume that today, at time 0, I'm going to take $1,000 and invest it in a CD that will pay 10% annual interest and mature in 5 years. So I designate the investment today as a negative amount because this is a cash outflow. In year 1, I'll be receiving no cash, and money will stay invested. The same 2, 3, and 4. And the question we are asking when we're doing a future value calculation is, what is the future value of an investment we make today at a set time period using an annual interest rate? So to calculate this, we're going to go to our Excel toolbar and select formulas. We'll then choose financial. And we're looking for the future value, the FV function, and this returns us the future value of an investment. First, we're going to start with our rate. Our interest rate is going to be 10%, and I've referenced the cell. This will allow me to quickly change the interest rate and then see the effect of various interest rates. The next piece of data we have to put in, NPR stands for the number of periods. And in this case, we have 5 periods. Next, it calls for a payment. In the future value of a dollar, we do not have a payment. This $1,000 does not represent a payment. A payment is an equal amount that is made each period, and it stays the same over the life of the investment. Instead, what we are going to input is the present value. That is, the $1,000 we invested today, that is our present value. Next, it wants to know the type. It wants to know if this payment was made at the beginning of the period or the end of the period. In the future value problem, it's always made at the end of the period. So we can leave it blank and hit OK. And again, it's the end of the period because this is time 0. So in effect, it's the beginning of period number 1. So the future value of $1,000 we invest today at 10% interest is going to be $1,610.51. Next, let's look at the present value. The question for the present value is, what is the value today of money that I am going to receive sometime in the future? So, in this problem, again, let's say it's nothing in year 1, 2, 3, 4. and we're going to receive $1,000 at the end of year number 5. So what is the present value? Again, we go to financial, and we are looking for the function PV for present value. Again, we input a rate at 10%. The number of periods is 5. Again, there is no payment. Instead, we have a future value, this $1,000. So the present value of $1,000 we're going to receive 5 years from now with an interest rate of 10% is $620.92. It shows as a negative because this would be the amount we invest today to get back $1,000 at the end of year 5. It's important to note that Excel does differentiate between cash inflows and outflows. All right, so let's take a look at the future value of an ordinary annuity. An annuity consists of equal payments over time. So let's say we're going to invest $250 at the end of each period. And the question is, what is the future value of this annuity where we're going to receive 5 payments of $250? So again, let's go to financial. In fact, we can, since we just used it, we can go over to the recently used and quickly find the future value. Again, our interest rate is going to be 10%. The number of payments is going to be 5. And since these are equal payments based over each period, we're going to use the payment argument. We're going to leave the present value as blank, and since these payments are made at the end of each period, the first payment is made at the end of year 5. We're going to show that the future value is 1526.28. So again, we're showing these as cash inflows. So if we receive $250 each period, at the end of year 5, we would have to pay 1526.28 for an interest rate of 10%. Let's look at the present value of an ordinary annuity. Here, the question is at time 0, today, what is an annuity going to be worth? And let's use the same amount. Instead of receiving, we'll say we're paying. So we'll have an outflow of $250 each period. And then the outflow shows by using the negative number. Recently used for the present value, we're going to tell it the rate is 10%. The number of periods is 5. Payments of $250, again, it's a negative to designate it's an outflow. We leave the future value blank. And again, these are going to be at the end of the period, so that remains blank. And the present value of the outflows of $250, 5 periods, is $947.70. What if we make our payments at the beginning of the period? So again, we use the same cash flow. We have payments of $250 over a 5-year period at 10%. This is again a present value calculation. We'll take our rate of 10%, We'll be making 5 payments. The payment amount is $250. And now we need to tell Excel that the payments are being made at the beginning of the period. And it's going to come back and tell us that if we make the payments at the beginning of the period, the present value is actually higher. The present value is 1,042. Again, the advantages of using Excel is that you can quickly change the amount. Instead of a 10% rate, if we put 5%, it immediately changes. If we change the future value, we quickly get our new answer. So I'm only going to use Excel because that's what's used in business. And since you're here to learn what's done in business, we're going to do all of our time value of money calculations in our accounting courses using Excel. When we come, the next video will show how to look at some additional types of time value of money problems using the same basic timeline setup, but with different Excel arguments.